is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Let's take a look at these wild markets. The after hours are not imitating the market openings whatsoever. But even though the market's not reliable, what is the fact that we got CJ in the house. Good morning to Adam. We got Andy, Bill, Brian. We got Doug, Dylan. Good morning to Greg, Gilbert, Jason P. King. Good morning, Jay Linder. Of course, good morning to Joe, KT, Leonard. Do I say that right? Lenandro? I think it's Lenandro. Good morning to you, Lauren. Good morning, Lewis, Martina. We got Richard Jet, Rick, GJ in the house. Good morning to Ron. We got Win. All my peeps of YouTube land. Good morning to Rado. Make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe button on YouTube, and let's see what's happening with the market. So yeah, futures were ripping after hours last night. We had a good, strong close. We were like, man, maybe some of this could hold. Maybe we're not selling every rip possible. And the Bears said, nah, you still are. You still are. Great morning, everyone. I'm on the way to the lake listening to George. What's the song? You got to pay rent. That's a good song. I like that one. No, was it no? One bourbon, one beer, one scotch, something like that. Beds Bones good too. Yep. All right, we got the SPY. So the SPY is giving back a lot, and this is a very curious place to open the SPY too. Under all those VPOCs, we were even talking about this yesterday. How that was a decent close. The fact that we got above all of those, trapping any of the bears coming in, and now I don't know. The Bears are still in control of this market as of right now. We'll have to see if we could break down the lows of yesterday, but I would be cautious. We still have we still got the VPOC from yesterday all the way at 446.78. That's going to be a big resistance, but even to get to that resistance, now we have a whole bunch of more levels kind of in here, and we'll see if we do get some by the dippers. I mean, again, if we're looking at those moving averages, a lot of times it was pressure to the downside. We did have a strong close. I think we did trap any of the bears in here. And then if this thing comes back down, and they could probably get out now and say, okay, let's maybe take some profit. We might see some buy the dippers come in, or just some people want to exit some shorts, potentially take something off the table that were just underwater for any of the shorts that got out in the last couple of days. So I'm personally a big indecision candle for the open. So we're going to have to see how this thing plays. Because I can see it two ways, where those guys might want to come out after the market just gave them another opportunity to do so, or this thing starts to fade. And right now we are below VPOCs, and some of those levels could be a little bit more resistance for the bulls on the way up. I don't think today is going to be a fun walk in the park whatsoever. But can't see the screen. Well, that's no good. All right, let me see. Let me go back to the spot real quick. SPY. Thanks for the heads up. I would have went 3 hours and just been on a black screen for sure. This is what I was talking about though. So here's the VPOC from yesterday that closed, and the VPOC right there is above 1, 2, 3 days. We didn't quite get above that fourth day, but we closed above that fourth day. So anybody that was, and we know this is going short, more pressure to the short side. Just every single one of those days kept going lower. And this really did look like a day yesterday where we were able to trap some of those shorts, maybe potentially make that next run up. Right. Now we are opening under the developing VPOC from yesterday. We're opening under all the VPOCs from, well, not all of them, but the VPOC from Friday as well. So that's giving these people a second shot of redemption to say, okay, the market did bounce a little bit. I was underwater. I didn't get out. The market's giving me that second chance. And we could see that little bit of a bounce, maybe retest that. And then I don't know if this is where we start to maybe go up higher or just settle. But I think it's a little bit of indecision. It's not going to be the strongest open we've ever seen as well. And anybody who's been applying pressure to the markets, they're back to profitable. So the question is, do they want to say, good, I survived one, I'm going to hold on, and then we start to break the lows of yesterday? That's what I have to watch for. So if we start breaking the lows and start holding, then a lot of this is off. Otherwise, I could actually see this thing come back, rally higher, give these people a second chance to take some profits when they could get it. So I think today is going to be a very, very interesting day to say the least. And then even in like the tech world, we got some good news from Nvidia is going absolutely crazy. But let's take a look at the Qs first. Ron says better now. So the black screen wasn't really helpful to anybody. Okay. This is how we learn. This is how we learn. All right, we got the Qs. So the Qs are still above, still a lot stronger than the SPY right now. We are still below yesterday's VPOC, which comes in somewhere at 369.40. So I'd have to see that get taken out. And then we do have a few levels, a few other VPOCs here as well before we can get any real rally going. So right now, inside day candle probably would be a little bit of a chop. Probably would be smart to, unless there's a stock that's really moving and looks different than the market. But if this was the overall chart of every single stock that we're about to look at, probably a little indecision at the beginning of the day would make sense, because again, this could be a spot where some of the I don't think in this one as much. I think this is more going to be probably resistance, and we really have to watch this 369.46 the SPY. I can see some of the shorts wanting to take some profits on the second opportunity that they have to do so. Let's take a look at Nvidia. Nvidia. So the vids is nice little gap up after a very extremely strong day into resistance. And then you go, well, it's also Nvidia. So this should be a retest gap. I think this one should fade. Can it come a little bit higher first? Possibly. We got to watch that 450.72. But we're right into very, very heavy resistance at this point. And that is a very strong bullish engulfing candle. Probably does have to come back to retest. I think this is going to be a fade, especially if the Qs do have the resistance in it as well. So I think this one, I wouldn't go long on it. And it's Nvidia. And if it just shoots up to the moon and we close the day at 470, I'm like, yeah, of course it's AMD. It's Nvidia. That's just what it does. But in a normal world, I really don't want to go long on Nvidia after the day we put in yesterday and that gap up today. Rock is in the house. Good morning, Rock. All right, we got AMD. Oh man, I can't wait till we get out of some of this chop zone for everything. Again, very good bullish day yesterday. Probably the first immediate target would be this 112.86. If that starts to break, I'd have to be looking for about 114.18 in a bullish direction. This is also a retest gap too. So typically, normally not smart to be the first one to jump in, see if we get a pullback somewhere. And then really start to look at levels of about 110.92, maybe like 110.81, somewhere in that zone. If that starts to hold as a bounce spot, then we could probably go long. So let's see if we get a little profit taking somewhere. Again, we're not. I mean, there was some strong days from the chips yesterday. MU maybe too. We had some strong days from some of the chips, and this is definitely bullish engulfing candles everywhere. People could look at this thing and go, yeah, we're definitely starting to rotate. We held. We didn't give it back by the close, but I don't know that we're out of that sell the rip mentality yet. So I think there's still some cautious bulls, but very, very good signs at least. Yep. SE was the next one I was going to pull up. Love it. So they had some earnings. I think they missed on their earnings are not showing here, but I think they missed on some kind of online sales was their bigger thing, but they have a major gap down, dropping about $10, slightly over $10 for right now. This thing looks like it's going to in a longer term picture, this is a horrible looking gap. But I think the stock was 300 at one point. This stock was at 359. I want to take a look at this one for a long-term basis. Let me just see if they pay a dividend. I don't think so. I think they're an ADR as well. SE dividend. I think this is also based off of yesterday's price. So they were paying This is it. No, this is not it. I'll have to look into it. I don't believe they have a dividend, but for a long-term basis, I want to look more into them. These guys just have fallen from the graces, straight up, straight down. Usually this pattern is very, very difficult to recover from. Very extremely difficult. Yeah, no divvy on SE. Yeah. The only thing that it's got going for it, if anybody at all is interested, is you have a little bit of support from back here. We're at that now, 46.41. Technically, this is a gap and go, but this is a major gap and go, clearing lots of pivots. So again, there's a fade opportunity in here, but as low as humanly possible. I would almost like to see it come down to like the 41.13 range. And then I have a really good risk reward. So I honestly, this gap is terrifying for bulls. Is it down a lot? Of course. Did we already start running down ahead of time? Yes. On the short term, yes. On the longer term, and yes, on an extremely long term. So this is going to be an area where you might people say, okay, double bottom, something like that. I think this one could fade higher, but I do want this thing to come down lower first. Let's see if I don't want to. I'm going to wait probably on this one out of the gate because it could get a little wild. Once you start breaking multiple pivots like this, you're just anybody at all that's in this thing is bullish at all is disgusted at this point. They're just like, for real. I could have just put all my money into Nvidia, but it didn't happen. Let's see. Let me get this one moving a little bit more. Let's get that one up there. We'll see what that one looks like. Let's take a look at Monster as well. Monster had a very good closing candle yesterday, still into some resistance. Little gap down today on the VPOC. I was seeing if we could get a little continuation on that one. But yeah, it's down. SE is down a lot. It's very tough to go short when something is down $10. But the chart looks horrible. I have no problem fading it higher. But give me some lower pricing on that one. Let's see. CLF had a hammer 2 days ago. CLF. The Cleveland Cliffs trying to make a deal for US Steel the other day. Pre-market, we are coming in at $15.75. So a little bit of a down day. Hammer 2 days ago. CLF. I don't see on my screen a real hammer. I see one from over here 2 days ago. Even if we include yesterday, I don't really have that as a hammer. But this one could still pull back. Look for some kind of support, 1564. If that one breaks, I think we start to fade all the way back down to 1468 on this one. Yeah. And again, I think this was mostly due to the news for buying out or trying to attempt to buy out US Steel on Sunday or over the weekend. But so obviously you're going to have some people in there bullish, but watch this support 1565, somewhere in that zone. That's going to be a first little bounce spot. And then if that one wants to break through, I think we could give all this back since I don't think the deal is happening. KRE for the ETF for regional banks. Yep, regional banks are definitely weak today. This is also a retest gap. Some kind of support should come in on KRE around 45.80. Do we get there is going to be the question. I would like to see if we're gonna test that. I want this first candle at open, the very first candle at open, to hit 45.79. If we could do that and it starts to bounce from there, great. Otherwise, I would like to hold into the open of this kind of first little breakout candle continuation. So if it takes a long time for us to get there, then I think it's going to be weaker. I think this 1475 is now going to be a lot easier to break, and then we probably push down higher. So you have a little bit of, if you're bullish and you're saying, okay, I want to hop in at, if I want to do something like 45, let's see, 45, let's go bullish. To play this retest, you're probably going to take some kind of entry right about $46. And then your stop, I would do something like this. And then just make sure that the risk reward is good. You're going to have probably taken a little partial off, I would assume, at maybe 46.40, and then look for 46.40, 46.64 is going to be target. So again, I'm not sure that the risk reward is there, but that's how I would play it if you're a bull and just trying to take a stab at it. Otherwise, it is a retest gap, so playing that fade would make sense. If you can get it off of that 45.79, that's a good attempt too. It's actually better risk reward if you could do something like that at open. But this could break, especially if this doesn't hold, you're almost immediately out of this thing, or trying to just bail at market, because then you have all the way back down to 43.95. Most likely, I think the daily picture looks something similar to this, where we could get some kind of a rally, retrace, do something like this, and then pull back. So I don't know if we're going to just get all the way down here today. That would be a big move for carry. I don't think the ranges are that crazy either. All right, let's see. Anything else that you guys have immediately on your list that you want to take a look at? Let me just see if I missed anything. Oh, Nike and JP Morgan. I always miss something. I always miss it. All right. So we got Nike. They're actually, according to TradingView, in a TTM squeeze. Let me check this one on. Hold on a second. Let me check this one on TOS if it's got a TTM squeeze, because they're usually different. They actually have a perfect squeeze. They have a perfect squeeze bearish right now. Let me do a new share on this one, and we'll go back to it. Ooh. Yeah. So right now we're below all the moving averages. Looks like we're opening at 106.91. We got into the squeeze, so you're probably trying to buy this thing right off the 21 if you're actually going to play it as a squeeze. We might have missed that opportunity, but you do have 3 days in a row to the downside, and you're definitely in a perfect squeeze lower. So could see a little bit more selling pressure that could last for about another 2 weeks on that thing. We'll see, but this is a retest gap, so it would be kind of not shorting the first one. See if this thing does want to retrace a little bit higher. The fact that we're breaking that little candle, that pivot, that's not good. Any way that you could slice it, I think the target takes us down to about 105.18. So I do think that one looks good for a short. And now the question is just where. Do you want to be really that first one in? Maybe, maybe not. Come on, Thinkorswim. I mean, whatever you are, TradingView. There we go. All right, got Nike at least a little higher. What was the other one? JP Morgan, JPM. Tesla we did not look at yet, but we will. JP Morgan looks horrific. Horrifically short. This one we could probably play pretty close to the open. I think there was somebody was saying something about the banks. Was it Michael Burry? I think Michael Burry came out and he's going all short. If you guys don't know Michael Burry, he was the guy from The Big Short. He's been correct on the last 2 out of 25 recessions, but all you really got to do is hit one. But yeah, so I think he was coming out with negative statements yesterday about the economy. This one's got plenty of room to the downside. Could take us to about 149.48. Maybe we get held up a little here, 151.63, but this is probably my favorite short so far today. We've been in a little bit of a downtrend, so even though it's a gap and go, we might get one little spike, take a break of. Let me see pre-market. All moving averages to the downside. We're holding right now I would do something like this, I think. That'd be us buying right into it. I would almost let this thing break. So I wouldn't go pre-market yet. But what I would do is see if we get one candle to close below this line. And then I go entry right here. So I wouldn't throw this order out before, just in case it bounces and doesn't break. So I do want to see a break through this. So I would do something to the extent. They're not even letting me. So I'd want this line to break first. Stops, I'm not sure as of yet, but I think it's safe to go here with stops. So this would be my stop. I don't know whether or not letting me click on this line. There it is. Bearish entry, something like this. Our target would probably be about 151 and change. I like it. I like it a lot. But yeah, let's break that pre-market first and then see if we come down. Otherwise, if this is going to be a bounce, then we might be able to short this thing higher. Either way, I think it's very, very shortable. All right. Take a look at Tesla. Already short position is disclosed as of June 30th. Do you know what he shorted though, Ivo? Also, Ivo, ladies and gentlemen, what's up, Ivo? I miss you, buddy. All right, we got Tesla. Tesla. So Tesla is a small little gap down into the support. So we're gonna have to see how this one holds. We did officially close that gap. My next immediate target would probably take us, if we're going down, if we're going to break this level, and I don't know that we will, but if we do, my next target would be about 236.35. And then the next spot, probably about 232.46, which is what I've been looking for a long time. And we got so close to it on this one. But this is a spot it could hold, so probably indecision. Also inside day candle. Again, let's take a look real quick at what kind of candle this was. Is this bullish or bearish yesterday? Well, we got bought up. So on a daily range, we were bullish, but in the overall pattern, this was still very, very weak sentiment at open, kind of a retest gap. I mean, again, this is a green candle, so you would think that would be more gap and go-ish, but even this one where we opened was more of a retest than anything here. So I would even repaint that candle red. This is a retest. We got below where any type of bulls on this day came in. So I think we're still a little bit to the weaker side. We'll see if we could hold that support whatsoever, which is where we're opening right now. Targets to the higher side, at least immediately, would take me to the next VPOC. That's going to be somewhere in the 242.53 range. So we got a couple decent dollars amount of risk to the higher side. If it does want to hold, and if it starts to break, this is another one I'm going to watch pre-market I'm going to watch the pre-market levels very carefully on this one. I think that's the better way to say that. Let's get Tesla up here, because otherwise, I think again, this is already come down. There's no levels here whatsoever. My next level will be 232. That gives me a good $6 to the downside if this level doesn't hold. I probably will have to take like some kind of partial, maybe 20%, somewhere at like 236.35. But it all depends on if we're going to hold that or not. Lucian says most of the major stocks pre-market are trading lockstep with the SPY and Qs this morning. I know, and that's kind of unfortunate because I don't really get much sentiment off of the SPY and Qs. I honestly I can see the SPY and Qs going either way. Depends on it's more of a psychological, like you're at a very interesting spot where it's like, okay, are we actually going to hold something? Because we did it for one day. Like we didn't immediately sell off. That's different. Winston, I'm not used to seeing that lately. Iowa says, I'm here, took a few days off, signed up for the next 90-day course. BEA, beautiful. Love it. All right. I don't see that I missed any other tickets. If I did, just retype them into the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to kind of run through the list real quick. We still got 4 minutes until the open. Let's take a look real quick at Meta. Mike says my gut tells me this market needs to pull back way more than it has. You're probably right, but I don't really think there's a dispute there. I think the dispute becomes as to when. So like we've already sold a decent amount. Can we get a little bounce somewhere first and then do that? It's very rare that this happens. I mean, unless you're in August of 2023, apparently. That's that's when that happens all the time. But we do have a bullish engulfing candle. We still got to fight through some moving averages here on Meta. Again, we have sold. We're still in. We got some levels down here on Meta that have not been really retested. I don't think we're going to go higher unless these do get retested. So I would see this thing pull back a little bit. And then again, the question is not it's not if, it's when. Because eventually everything will start getting priced accordingly again. But Meta's hanging out at the highs of the day into a little bit of a resistance. You got to watch this zone right here. That's going to take us to, so not much to see really on Meta. Unless we start breaking. I'm going to watch Meta for a bullish, actually. If we could actually hold some of these levels, then I do have a good range up until probably 312, $6 to the upside. To the downside, which is probably where it actually goes, for some kind of a retest, I don't really have that much risk to reward shorting unless I believe that these VPOCs are going to break 302.71, and we're not there yet. Jay says, what's your take on New York Empire State Manufacturing? I don't really have any take on it. No. New York Empire State Manufacturing. That was a minus 19 versus a minus. That was a big loss. We did have retail sales come out at pretty positive surprise beat to the upside. So I don't know exactly that study specifically. I don't know if it's just specifically New York and then it's more of like kind of regional. Yeah, I don't think that would be a huge play into it. It'd be something to watch if like other states are now reporting like some crazy like slowdowns or something like that. But then you're just like, it's New York. I mean, I grew up there, so I'm like, yeah. First of all, they have nowhere else to build. I mean, they're kind of out of space. All right, we got X. Yeah, I think it's something that the market will brush over. But if it's something that continues, and then you start to see it leak into more major reports, that could be an issue. So I would say it's nothing. I wouldn't take it as too anything too crazy, honestly. But maybe a starting point for something else bigger. $30.72. So a little pullback on X. X, I think, could actually see some continuation bullish today, but we do need a little pullback first. And I think X could still be buy the dip opportunity. Mosaic company, that one's down a little bit. I see Nike kind of moving pre-market. So Nike's dropping. And that is the opening bell. So everybody out there, YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. It just helps us get the content out to more people that might be interested in learning more about the stock market. Otherwise, you guys are more than welcome to trade with us each and every day. We do this from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, New York Standard Time Zone. And we got a lot of traders from New York because no manufacturing is happening. So they're all trying to shift. Otherwise,